What is the Enlightenment? The Enlightenment, referred to as the Age of Reason, was a confluence of ideas and activities that took place throughout the 18th century in Western Europe, England, and the American colonies. The characteristic of the Enlightenment, genre or style in Enlightenment are political pamphlets, travel writing, and highly ornate persuasive writing. Effect or aspect in Enlightenment are patriotism and pride grows, creates unity about issue and create American characters. Historical context in Enlightenment is the Enlightenment was brought about because of printing press. Philosophical emphasis in Enlightenment, it promotes science in intellectual effort and opposes superstitions and blind adherence to religious teaching. The philosophical of the Enlightenment is at the center a celebration of ideas about what the human mind was capable of, what could be achieved through deliberate action and scientific methodology. Many of new Enlightenment ideas were political in nature. Intellectuals began to consider the possibility that freedom and democracy were the fundamental rights of the people, not gifts bestowed upon them beneficent monarch of popes. What is the realism? Realism is the literary movement that occurred during 1865 until 1900. It focused on giving a view of what was occurring at the time and on providing insight into what was really going on in society. The characteristics of the realism are read the reality closely and in comprehensive detail. Characters appear in their real complexity. Class important, even will usually plausible. Diction is natural, vernacular, not heightened or panic, and objectivity and presentation. The philosophical of realism is about a given object is the view that this object exists in reality independently of our conceptual scheme. In philosophical terms, these objects are ontologically independent of someone's conceptual scheme, perception, and linguistic practice. Realism can be applied to many philosophically interesting objects and phenomena. Other minds, the past or the future, universal mathematical entities such as natural numbers, moral categories, and the physical world and thought. Realism can also be a view about the natures of reality in general, where it claims that the world exists independent of the mind as opposed to anti-realist view. Philosophers who profess realism often claim that truth consists in the correspondence between cognitive representations and reality. What is Romanticism? Romanticism is an artistic movement that values imagination and feelings over intellect and reason. The characteristics of Romanticism, genre or style, are character sketches, slave narrative, poetry, and short stories. Effect or aspect is integrity of natures and freedom of imagination. Historical context is publishing expanded industrial revolutions bring new ideas. Romanticism began in England and Germany. Philosophical emphasis, Romanticism is a reaction against the reason of Enlightenment. They believe that truth is found in human emotion. The philosophical of the Romanticism is in general was a reaction against the scientific rationalization of natures during the Age of Reason, which left little room for the freedom and creativity of the human spirit and stressed strong emotion as a source of aesthetic experience. The Romantic view is that reason, objectivity, and analysis radically falsify reality by breaking it up into disconnected, lifeless entities. And the best way of perceiving reality is through some subjective feeling or intuition. Romanticism, it was embodied most strongly in the visual art, music, and literature, but it also had a counterpart in philosophical thought, through which the participate in the subjects of our knowledge instead of viewing it from the outside. What is Transcendentalism? Transcendentalism, a religious philosophical, a literary movement. Transcendentalism rose in New England in the middle of 19th century. Begin is the religious concept rooted in the ideas of American democracy. The characteristic of the Transcendentalism, genre or aspect, are to really be in spiritual, idealist, self-reliance and individualism, important and significant of nature. Historical context is today in literature we still read of people seeking the true beauty in life and in nature. In literature we also still see a belief in true love and contentment. The leading are Ralph Waldo Emerson, Henry David, and Wade Whitman. The philosophical of the Transcendentalism is Transcendentalism never really caught on in professional philosophy, possibly because the structures of its argument. Transcendentalism rejected both rationalism and empiricism. Transcendentalism was based on an intuition, a feeling several philosophers got together and had similar feelings about society, religion, and truth, but what they didn't have was a set of arguments. As a result, they were not able to persuade new followers other than those who already shared their feeling. The Transcendentalists were brilliant writers, crafting expansive essays and compelling poetry, but they did not write philosophical arguments in the traditional sense. What is the modernism? Modernism is the expression of the modern era. It tends to revolve around themes of individuality, the randomness of life, mistrust of government and religion, and disbelief in absolute truth. The characteristics of the modernism are using words as part of speech that they can earn, reworking traditional forms, using disjoint structures of reflect the dysfunctions of Western society, addressing inner thought of regular people. The philosophical of the modernism was essentially conceived of as a rebellion against 19th century academic and historic tradition and against Victorian nationalism and cultural absolutism. Modernism on the grounds that the traditional forms of art, architecture, literature, and religional faith, social organization, and daily life in the modern industrialized world were becoming outdated. The movement was initially called avant-garde, descriptive of its attempt to overthrow some aspect of traditionally or the status quo. The term modernism itself is derived from the Latin modo, meaning just now. What is the postmodernism? Postmodernism, a period label given to culture's forms since the 1960s that display characteristics such as reflexivity, irony, and the mixing of popular and high arts form. The word means naturally after modernism. The characteristics of the postmodernism are irony, playfulness, black humor, intertextuality, metafiction, temporal distortion, technoculture and hyperbole, and etc. The philosophical of the postmodernism is a philosophical movement that arose in the second half of the 20th century as a critical response to assumptions elegantly present in modernist philosophical ideas regarding culture, identity, and history. Postmodernist thinkers develop concepts like difference, repetition, trace, and hyperbole, subvert, grand narrative, uniformity of being, and epistemic certainty. Postmodernism philosophy questions the importance of power relationship, personalization, and discourse in the construction of truth the worldview. Many postmodernists appear to deny that the objective reality exists and appear to deny that there are objective moral values.